AD?
Yes.
He's on twice?
He's on twice?
Yes, twice.
No, not that I remember, only signing once.
No, he's in once.
Yeah, but who's AD?
Well, she just told you. Furman, is that you, AD?
No.
No.
AD. I don't know who's AD.
No, actually,
No.
my screen show was Junior, Y-U-N-I.
AD is gone away. Now it's got.
They left.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the City of Paterson Board of Adjustment meeting this evening, Thursday, January 20, 2022, at 7:30 p.m. via webinar session. Chairman Thaxton, would you like me to proceed?
Go ahead.
Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The notice requirement of the Open Public Meeting Law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location included in the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board. Filed with the city clerk of the city of Paterson, posted at City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. I will now call the roll. Commissioners, Commissioner Barat,
Present.
Commissioner Furman,
Present.
Commissioner White.
Present.
Thank you. If you have your laptops, can you please put your cameras on for me? For the public at least, thank you. Commissioner Minauro.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Watkins.
Present.
Commissioner Arenas.
Present.
Commissioner Vega is absent. Vice Chairman Rohim
Present.
and Chairman Thaxton.
Present.
We have 8 commissioners in attendance this evening. I will read the agenda into the record. Notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act addressing effect of coronavirus measures on the next public meeting. Consistent with the coronavirus-related restrictions of Executive Order Number 107, given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020, by Governor Philip D. Murphy, the Board of Adjustment of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10-4-8 commencing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the council chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street, Paterson, New Jersey. In-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling 973-321-1579, meeting ID number 711-680-001, Board of Adjustment special meeting of Thursday, January 20th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. on the date and time that the meeting is scheduled to commence. The public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson at www.pattersonnj.gov. Our first application this evening begins at 7:30. It is for Day Properties, LLC, 9-13 Day Street, 382-386 Dakota Street, and 388-392 Dakota Street. Block 6913, lots 4, 5, and 6. Application to demolish an existing 1-story commercial building and then construct a new 4-story 30-unit apartment building on a 15,387 square foot lot. The minimum lot size for a 1- and 2-family dwelling is 50 by 100 feet, in an R2 zone. The applicant proposes 40 parking spaces and an apartment vestibule on the first floor. There will be 30 one-bedroom apartments per floor. There will be 24 one-bedrooms and 6 two-bedroom apartments for a total of 36 apartments in the proposed building. The applicant will provide 40 parking spaces of the 55 parking spaces that are required. This is for use bulk G variance and site plan in an R2 zone. Is the applicant present?
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. Alan Maricondo on behalf of the applicant. My office is 726 Market Street, Paterson. We're ready to proceed this evening. Thank you for hearing us on a special basis.
Mr. Maricondo, my application has 24 units. Is that correct?
No, 30 units is the total.
Okay, 30, okay, all
It was
right.
originally 36. During the course of our work on this application, we've come down to 30, so that's where we are.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Shall I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Again, presenting this application on behalf of Dave Properties, we are seeking site plan use D variance and bulk variances. We are located in the R2 zone. We'll be presenting Mr. Evans and our architect planner as well as the applicant. As the commissioners are aware, this application has been pending. We've been working with your staff on a fairly regular basis to modify and tweak this application. And we'll be offering one other modification this evening, which hopefully the commissioners and staff will find a good concept in terms of providing additional parking as well. We will have 24 ones and 6 twos as indicated in the agenda, and we have a substantial amount of parking, which we will address during the course of our testimony this evening. Although this property is in the R2 zone, Mr. Evans will talk about the proximity to other major developments in the area and why the variances should be granted this evening. So without further ado, I'll call Mr. Evans.
Please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
State your full name for the record, please.
Matthew Evans, architect planner, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
Mr. Chairman, we ask that Mr. Evans be accepted as an expert.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Evans, I indicated in my opening that you prepared the site plan, is that correct?
Yes,
And obviously you've been working with staff and made some modifications as we moved along here.
yes.
Okay, could you give us an overview of the site, in terms of, and post your plan if you would at this time? Is that the first page of your
Yeah,
plan?
let me, zoom out on this thing.
Yeah.
So we have, sheet S1 with, let me zoom over to here. We have the last revision was 5/3/2021. That was, reducing it from 36 to 30 units. We reduced the size of the building and the unit count, for the proposed, development. So sheet S1, we have the zoning table, zoning, ordinance, data. We have the tax map showing the property in question and the 200-foot radius map. We have the existing condition survey. We have lighting, and we have the proposed site plan, including the lighting to the upper right of our plan.
What's the existing building, if you can recall, has it been demolished or vacant for years? Or-
Yeah, the building was a bar or tavern building. As you can see on the existing conditions, that was on Day Street, and there was a parking lot at the intersection of Dakota and the buildings to the back. So basically, the bar has been demolished as part of this
this applicant's ownership.
Yes,
Okay, so obviously we're removing a commercial use that certainly did not fit in the R2 zone, is that correct?
yes,
And actually, I think the commissioners are aware of the site, this was a very difficult site for the city to manage, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of the bar use there,
yes.
right? Okay, so you can proceed then in terms of how we're developing it.
Okay, looking at the site plan, we have,
Hello? Shall we proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Okay,
okay, so what we have, showing it on the intersection of Day and Dakota, we have a 4-story, building. What we have is a curb cut on Day Street, 2-way. We have parking below, and a lobby, and then we have, created parking in the rear along Dakota Street for additional surface parking. I'll elaborate on that in a little bit. So, this is all new, improvements, so all the existing conditions will be removed, new sidewalks, curbs, all new construction, as part of this application. Going to the second sheet, basically we have the utilities, and landscaping plan, drainage for the, development with the details for, engineering. We have soil erosion, and then we go to the, first floor, plan showing, what the proposal is, doing here. So the first floor plan, as I mentioned, we have a 2-way entrance off of Day Street. We have parking in the shaded area, which is underneath the building. And then we have an additional 2-way curb cut on Dakota Street with the additional parking for the development along with bicycle parking. We have garbage and refuse, and we have an egress there, a second means of egress exiting onto Dakota Street. The main entrance would be on Day Street, and that has the lobby, elevator, and apartment lobby with the one fire stair, the elevator, and then we have utility room, recycling area, and then we have a powder room for the tenants. Also, going to the second floor plan, we have the units laid out. So we have 10 units. There's 2 2-bedrooms, and 8 1-bedrooms per floor. So that's the second, third, and fourth floor. I believe all these apartments comply with the minimum area. So looking at a unit, unit 401 or 201 to 401, we have 654 square feet. All the units are handicap accessible. They have washer dryers in all the units, and they have, the second floor has terraces. So you can see this unit 201 has a 240 square foot terrace in the back. And then we have the other units. We have unit 202 is a 1-bedroom, 662 square feet. Then 204, 662 also. And then we have a 2-bedroom, which is a unit 203. That's 1,000 square feet, so that's 101 square feet in over the minimum requirement. So it's extra, and along with that, it's 87 square foot terrace for that unit. Unit 205, we have a 1-bedroom unit, 648 square feet. Unit 206, 610 square feet. And then 207, we have 609 square feet. And then in the middle of the building, basically the core, we have a gym on the second floor. That's fitness center. And then we have a detail above that shows the other amenities, and we have the amenities spelled out. There's 636 on each floor, so it'd be meeting rooms and areas for the tenants to congregate for different activities.
And that fitness room, it could be utilized by tenants on any of the floors?
Yeah, so the elevator would bring you to there. There's a powder room in that gym, so
Great.
it's able to accommodate.
There's a great deal of amenity and community space here.
Right. And then we have the other 2-bedroom unit, which is 1,040 square feet, nice large bedrooms, closets. There's a walk-in closet for this primary bedroom there. And then we have handicap accessible laundry facilities. We have a nice open living dining plan for that unit. And then unit 209 is a 1-bedroom. It's 872 square feet. We have a 92 square foot balcony for that space also. All the floors are basically the same, so 208, 308, 408, they're all the same. The only exception would be the balconies on the second floor. Looking at the elevations, the rear elevation, as we were talking about, the balconies would be in the rear above the parking. And, and then we have, that's it for that one. And then we show the roof plan with the mechanicals. And then we have amenity space for a terrace, 2,500 square foot for the occupiable rooftop. We go to the next sheet showing Day Street. So as you can see, the area, the stair tower and main lobby and the entrances on the left, as I mentioned, on Day Street. And then we have a 2-car garage entry adjacent to that. And then we have a mix of materials. We have brick and stucco and large awning and casement windows for the units. And we mixed it up. And we also have parapets, and you can see the railing for the occupiable terrace. We also have a screened area for the HVAC units. And as you can see, the corner has the corner terraces for the apartments. Let's see what else we have. We have, looking at Dakota Street side, this is the intersection. On the left is Day and Dakota. As I mentioned, terraces. We have brick facade. We have architectural cornices and other. We put street trees along the facade curb, and then we have. You can see looking back a wall where the two-way driveway is. So basically, the parking is screened from the street with a wall and a door. And then you looking behind that, you see on an angle, you'll see those terraces from those units on the upper floors. So that's the basic architectural for the what we're proposing.
Did you want to outline in further detail the additional parking concept, or did you want to discuss that directly with Mr. Paparazzi, or?
Well, what we're doing, let me look at, go through the issue of parking and how it's based on, balancing it with, so what we have is, we have,
Parents, somebody. Mr. Chairman?
One moment.
Everybody mute your mics other than Mr. Evans.
The
parking is screened from the street with a wall and door.
hello?
that's, somebody's watching it on YouTube or something. All right, that sounds like we're good for now.
Okay.
Yes, I'm working on it. Give me a moment.
Okay,
Proceed.
All right, going to the zoning table, we show, the required parking for our proposal. That's 55.2, spaces, 1.8 for the one bedrooms and 2 for a 2 bedroom. So 55.2, I guess we could round that up to 56 parking spaces required. And what we're proposing is 41 parking spaces for 30 units. So, what we would like to propose as part of this application is we have, surface parking, not the parking under the garage, but the surface parking, in the rear yard. Let me go to that area. So as you can see, there's, surface parking in the rear. What we're going to do is put, stackable parking. So it'd just be 2 cars stacked. So 12 spaces in that rear section would be stackable parking. So that would allow us 12 more parking spaces as part of this application. So with the 41 proposed, we would have 12, that would be 53 parking spaces. So we are required 56 parking spaces. We would now be proposing 53. Also, recently, last year, the governor passed a law for the EV parking credit, and the applicant would like to install electric vehicle-ready parking spaces, which would be credited 10% of the parking which was proposed. So we have 53 parking spaces. That is, would be 10%, would be 5.3, would round up to 6 spaces. So we would be proposing 59 parking spaces as part of this application. The 59 spaces would be in excess 3 spaces for the RSIS standards for parking. So I believe we would reduce that variance for parking and have an excess of 3 parking spaces.
And that stacked parking concept is not shown directly on your plan at this time?
No, it's basically it's a modular construction, and you buy them for each one. Have you seen them maybe in Newark or New York or in other urban areas that have the acts of that type of parking arrangement?
Right. And any other points with regard to the newly created variances? Your thoughts about the other bulk variances, any of them creating any issues in your mind?
Well, basically, this building, what we've designed is consistent with ones in the area, in the South Paterson area for multifamily, and some of them also have mixed use, but this would be proposed in the R2 zone. We have a large lot, and let me go to the zoning table. And
How big is our lot?
so we have, from the R2, we would convert it to the R3 requirements, which would be 15,000 square feet. We have 15,387 square feet, so we would meet that for the lot area. Lot width is 150, we have 194. Lots front setback is 25 feet. We have, looking at 0 along the street, and we would be seeking a variance for those 2 conditions. Then also for the side, a 0 side setback, those variances. Also, we have the minimum rear setback is 20. We have 61.5 in the back. We have the maximum building height, according to the R3 standard, is 80. We have 35 feet. 35 feet is consistent with the R2 also, and other areas, so it would not be out of character as far as the height. And then 7 stories, and we have, 4 stories would be, proposed. Lot building coverage, 20%. We are looking at 60% of building. We'd be seeking relief for that. Floor area ratio is 1.4 maximum. We have 2.0, which is, I would say in the ballpark. It's not too dense for this area, and, that we'd be seeking a variance for that. The units per acre, we have, according to the standard, 50 units per acre. Then we have 30 units we're proposing.
And we have some open space, provided on site, you described on the internal space, is that what your open space, analysis for?
Yeah, open space is also, we calculated it all out. We have, and we have, requirement. And then we have the amendment.
Maggie, can you mute somebody? I can't hear what Matt is saying.
Okay, one moment.
I'm sorry, Matt.
Okay,
Can you start back with the open space calculation?
sure. So the open area, we calculated the personal terrace area, the requirements, for the 1 and 2 bedroom, and, the total, would be 4,800 square feet. We have calculated the terrace areas, 1,908 square feet, and then we have, the rooftop terrace is 2,500 square feet. So what we're proposing, the amenity area total for those, would be, 6,790, almost 6,800 square feet.
That includes the fitness area as well as the community rooms?
Yes, there's, the balconies, rooftop terrace, and, the amenity areas.
That includes fitness room, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All through
And
second through fourth.
community rooms, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Paparazzi touched upon other issues. You did talk about garbage and recycling, but how can it be managed from the upper levels? Do you want to touch on that?
Okay, let's see what we have. So what we have on our upper floors, we have the garbage chute area for the refuse, and that would be brought down to the ground floor adjacent to the parking area, and that also would be to a compactor room. And we have, that refuse area would be directly accessible off of Dakota Street, so recycling and garbage would be taken out of the site through that chute in the refuse area for the development. We also have a recycling area, so the tenants can bring down their recyclables and sort them in the recycle area towards the west side of the building, and that would be removed by management during recycling days and dealt with on that level.
Now, in terms of this overall proposal, we've given a great deal of testimony about the design within this area of the city from a positive criteria perspective, the benefit that would inure from this application.
Yeah, well, there was previously a bar that was, had some problems in the past, and it was a non-conforming use. What we're doing is proposing residential units, large apartments, 1 to 2 bedroom, adequate parking and amenity space. And what we're doing is infilling that corner lot to create new housing for the South Paterson area, which is consistent with the scale, density, and character of the new construction that's being built in the area. And it's a high-quality construction with architectural aesthetic appeal that I believe would positively impact the area and would not create a negative impact or negatively a negative detriment to the zoning plan, master plan of the city of Paterson.
And the surrounding area in terms of the other uses, are there any buildings in your estimation from an overall perspective that could be negatively impacted in any way?
I think we are pretty, we have a nice design that is compact along Dakota and Day Street, which are Day is more of a traveled way, and it would be consistent, as I mentioned, with the other new construction of multifamily in the area.
Okay, and with respect to ingress and egress from this site, you talked about the 2 streets there, you just touched upon it. Are you comfortable with the access in terms of fitting in with the character of the neighborhood?
Yes, it's
Where do we enter the site and leave it?
well, we're entering, the majority of the people would enter, guests and tenants would enter on Day Street. And that would be the primary entrance. The only other exit would be for the personal car, the vehicles in the back, and the second fire stair that would exit onto Dakota Street. So Dakota Street would be a secondary street, and it would have limited parking access for the tenants on a controlled basis in the rear. So it would not negatively impact that. The building would be set back from the rear of the property to give open light and air to the adjacent properties on Dakota Street.
So again, just to summarize briefly, from a planning perspective, we're eliminating a very unpopular, non-conforming use, if I could put it that way, with a positive use that meets one of the ordinance's stated goals for new housing.
Yes.
That's all I have at this time, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, that would conclude our direct testimony, Mr.
Chairman
Evans.
Daxton, are you there, sir?
He's on mute. Chairman Claxton.
Can you call from your phone?
I'm doing that now.
Perfect.
Chairman Daxton, if you hear me, just hit *6 on your phone.
Maggie?
Mr. Mariconda finished his application.
I heard every word they said. I'm waiting for Gary. I was calling Gary.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Mr. Mariconda, I asked for one survey of the entire site, and I've been asking for 4 months, and I never got that. So, do you have a copy of that survey that for the entire site? Now, what you sent me and what Maggie sent me were 4 different pieces. And I told you at one of the meetings that we were scheduled for, they don't coincide with each other. In other words, Morgan Engineering has made a mistake on some of his surveys. So I asked for 1 copy and I still not have received it.
I did provide all the original surveys that my clients had available, through the staff, but,
Well, yeah, you did.
work with this.
You did provide but they were all separate surveys. So you provided 4 separate surveys, and what I told you was they conflict with each other. That's why I wanted 1. Now, all right, let's skip that for now. You have your S1 right there in front of you, right there, leave it alone, Mr. Evans. And you see, on Bay Street, you say it's 100 feet. And you know it's not 100 feet. You see on Dakota Street, you have 94 feet, and it's not 94 feet. Okay? So you don't coincide with the survey, and the survey doesn't coincide with its own survey. Now, obviously, that's a problem, especially since I've been asking for such a long time. What I wanted was Morgan to go out there and survey all those 4 lots with 1 survey, so he could eliminate his mistakes, and then he would eliminate the mistakes that Mr. Evans has on his. Now, that being said, let's stay on S1. We're gonna go through the zoning chart. We're gonna start with that first. Okay, you have a minimum front setback requirement, on Bay Street, which is 25, and 0 is provided. You don't show a variance for a minimum front setback on Dakota, which is also 25 feet. And it's been on my report since 3/6/2021, and revised 8/14/2020. Okay, now, you have a maximum height. Now, it's not a variance, but you show 35 feet on your zoning chart, and on your plan, let's go to A4, you show it's not 35 feet. You go to A4, you show like 40-something feet. You don't even match your own work. Well, it's on A4 and it doesn't show 35 feet, it shows,
Or you put sticks.
yeah, well, you have 35 on your zoning chart, and that's your own work.
Right.
Lot coverage, I calculate 73%, you have 68. I'm gonna assume that you're wrong. Floor area ratio, you have 0.2, and it's actually 3.24. I don't know where you got 0.2 from. And the open space, now open space is required, the requirement for open space is for all the tenants to use. The terraces do not count for open space for all the tenants to use because there are only a select few tenants that can use the terraces. But that number is also important. All right, now, on sheet A, do you have a schematic of what the site would look like? I want to go to A4 now.
A4?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Okay. A4. You see on the bottom left here where the come down on the front elevation for Day Street on the left, where the people are entering the building.
right.
You have an awning that extends beyond the building. It looks like, and the building is on the property line. You can't have that. I already told you, once before that the engineering wanted to chop off my head for allowing a fire escape, and it was only a replacement. So obviously you can't have that there. And if you go down to the front elevation of Dakota Street, it looks like those terraces extending beyond the building. I can't tell with your drawings. That's why I asked for if you had a schematic. If they extend past the building, they're also onto city property and they can't be allowed. So that has to be revised. Okay,
Well, they're within the property line, we show it here, as you can see the terraces on the, there's the property, let me zoom in a little bit. We're talking about the corner, the intersection, right?
Yep.
Alright, so let's go there. So there's the property line, and the balcony is tucked in that sort of pie-shaped area. So-
okay. You know what, though, under A4, it looks like it exceeds the building. Now, you're not gonna be able to see 4 inches or 6 inches on that drawing, Mr. Evans. So, you know, I don't wanna ask for a schematic, but if you're gonna do drawings like this, we're gonna require them. Because it's not, you can't have that if it is.
Well,
If not, you have to put a note on it.
Yeah, we would agree that we would not have any encroachments over the property line, as if this were to be approved.
Well, you have one on Day Street that has
Well,
to be
we
removed.
would reduce that.
Well, you can't reduce it. There is no, the building is online. You can't have any.
Where?
On Day Street. Where the people are entering. You're not on A4 anymore.
Let me get here. So that is basically set back. We have 2 feet from the stair tower to the property line, so that would just end at 2 feet. And that would just cover that little area where over the entrance and that little piece.
Right.
We would limit any encroachments, no encroachments.
That would have to be a note as well, because quite frankly, you can't tell from that drawing. And if they put up a 6-foot awning to cover the pedestrians, you're gonna be on the city property.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Well, it has to state that. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
It have to be more clear. Now, on A2,
So you
you
can,
have the garbage chute, okay,
you know,
A2, you need.
but I was just saying, there's the canopy, see how it's set back, the entry? So you have 2 feet and 5 or 6 feet, so that would be still would be, clear of the property. Right, so what do you say, A2, you say?
Yes.
There we go.
You show the garbage chute, but when people empty out their garbage, they put their recycling with it. In this scenario, they have to bring the recycling down and go to where the dumpsters are to put it in storage. So, usually when you have a garbage chute, and we've done this on other applications, you have to make the room big enough so when they dump the garbage, they could put their cardboard from Amazon and FedEx and furniture deliveries, so they don't have to drop the garbage in a chute and then walk down into the area where you're actually keeping the dumpsters. But, you know, I don't think that you know, I don't like it. I don't think that works. I think you need to have a bigger room for the chute and the recycling area.
Well, we have a large walk-in closet for the, unit for, 210. We can increase the size of that garbage. And reduce it.
Yeah, you have some
Feedback.
Thank you. Well, yeah, okay, so that's another, we're already at, 4 revisions now. Is the garbage going to be handled by, outside hauler?
Private hauler.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, let's go to sheet A1, we'll talk about parking.
Talk about what?
Parking.
Okay.
All right, space number 29, does not allow for the garbage to be taken out. rolled out.
That's the recycling you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna lose space number 29 because now it can't get the dumpsters to the truck. That's number one. Number two, which is now a popular thing, you need to show the electronic spaces on your plan. But while the Senate gave you that authority, you can't throw it in as a bonus to reduce your parking without me seeing it first. It has to be on the plan. That's another revision. Now, a space 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41. Now you're proposing stacked parking, which again is a revision. But is there going to be an attendant on site to lift the spaces like when you go to a parking lot in Manhattan?
Yes.
Yes, that would have to be part of that recommend, that's part of that amendment, yes.
Okay, but it really doesn't work here because when you have people waiting to lift their car, you're going to be, especially spaces 37, 38, 39, 36, 35, 40. If they have to wait to get out to elevate the first space, they're going to be blocking the entrance in and out. Quite frankly, even the first two spaces are right where you pull in and pull out. And now you have double stack parking where you pull in and pull out. I don't see how that works. I think that's potentially dangerous. I'm not a fan of that. And quite frankly, I'm not a fan of that. You're going to have somebody on site to run the lifts for parking. There's no way for the city to enforce that, and I'm not really a proponent of that. I don't think that's going to work, and especially when you're short parking to begin with. You have what I call is what's an issue. So,
We can discuss that at some point off the record with my client.
Okay, so Chairman and Commissioners, we have to revise that. We have to eliminate parking space 29. It's going to show the electronic spaces. You have to put a note on the Day Street and Dakota about that encroachment on the city if that there is none. You have to reduce the closets to put some space in for recycling. And the zoning chart has at least 8 to 10 revisions. I don't know what you want me to do, Chairman, but quite frankly, I thought that the plan should be, it's hard to work off of working on the fly, I don't want to tell the board that I think this is a good application because half of it doesn't work, and quite frankly, in any other town, it would not be heard. We're doing it, but there's just too many revisions. Plus, I still need a survey, one survey, not 4 different surveys. The surveys don't match themselves, so the surveyor is wrong and Mac is wrong. I'm just letting you know that I'm not thinking that parking is going to work. So I'm going to go with the 14 spaces or 15 spaces short, and until I see the electronic spaces on there. The city needs something because the enforcement is is none. And I want something to protect at least this board, because when there's a problem in that area, the board has got to rely on something. And you come in here and you give me a plan, and you say, well, we're going to change this, we're going to change that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and at this point, these plans have to be done. My revised report was done in August.
So, let me jump in for a second. I'm concerned about what I'm hearing, because if that's your position, then really we shouldn't be going forward until we have one.
Well,
Well,
it's my position,
Hold on, Mr. Maricon, the what?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt Gary.
No, it's okay, go ahead, what were you saying?
If we can go off the record for about 2 minutes, I can discuss where we are with the applicant.
Yeah, but I think the bigger issue though is,
Yeah,
why don't you take the 2 minutes out, and then why don't you call me for a moment?
I will. Thank you.
Commissioner Monaro for Gary.
Commissioner, I think while we're on a break, excuse me, I don't know if we could, that's what, I wanted to say a few other things,
But let's all hold off, 'cause we're on break.
that's what I said, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, yeah, Commissioner Monaro, just, hold off until we come back, because I have a few other things I want to.
You got it.
And Mr. Chairman and Council, Mr. Caprosi, we're back on the record. Can you guys hear us okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, we've got a discussion here and we're of the position that we would like to address many of the issues that Gary has discussed, come back with revised plans and perhaps also bring in an additional witness and back to see you again at a future date.
Well, what I'd like to do is I like to make it abundantly clear on the record what is requested, what is required, so that when we come back on the next date, there is no question.
No doubt. I think I took very careful notes during Gary's comments, so I think I've got it, but if Gary wants to repeat it, I'm okay. I think I got it.
He might have some additional ones, I think, for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Commissioners, and Mr. Nakanda, I have noticed this, and I want the commissioners to be at least comfortable with this. We have, because the city of Paterson really doesn't have a good enforcement. You know, you have to be able to accept, if Mr. Mariconda is going to do stack parking, you have to be able to accept that there's going to be someone there 24/7 to run those lifts forever. Now, and I'm not saying it with this application, but I've had applications in the past. They like to say whatever the commissioners want to hear, and it doesn't work out that way. When I pass them after they get approved, it's something totally different. And I wish the city, hopefully the mayor and some of the council people are listening, would supply enforcement, because I would guess that 90% of the either commercial or mixed-use applications are in violation of what the resolution says. Now, that being said, if Mr. Mariconda is going to do stack parking, you have to first accept that there's going to be somebody there around the clock to run those lifts. So, for example, if If a 20-year-old girl rents an apartment, you're not gonna expect her to run the lifts with two girls to lift and drop the cars. Additionally, if that is the case, the first 6 should not be there because then cars will be blocking the entrance going in and out. Now, that being said, we need one survey showing the entire site. And then Matt's surveys on S1 and so forth have to reflect those numbers. The zoning chart has to reflect all the variances and correct numbers. If there is no encroachment on his elevation sheet, then there has to be a note to that effect because engineering is very strict and they've called me on that several times. So I know it's been on the record, but I want it on the plan. The open space, you cannot include open space for several units if it's not open space for the entire site. So your open space is the rooftop, and you can add amenities to that, which is approximately 2,500 square feet less than what you show. You have to show an area for the recycling to be stored in a room where they drop their garbage. And you have to eliminate parking space 29 so that the hauler can get in and out. Additionally, you have to show which, you only use the 10%, and you have to show that, so again, this board is protected, and if there is a problem and it doesn't happen, and there is a problem with parking in the neighborhood, since there was no parking when I was there, that, and those spaces are not installed, again, because of the enforcement, I have something in front of me and in front of the commissioners, so if there is a problem there, and the people do not build what they propose, again, commissioners, this has happened already. This has happened more than once. And I'm not saying it's gonna happen with this application, but it has happened a lot. So I wanna protect this board, and the city at the same time. So I want those electronic spaces shown as well, and I need it, a couple days prior to the meeting. Okay, that's the record. And I know there was a question by one of the commissioners, Mr. LaRocca, so I don't know if I answered that question.
Commissioner Ronaldo. Did you have a question for Gary?
I did, Chairman. I just wanted to ask, Gary, if, by placing those parking spaces with the chargers, right, is that going to, limit the kind of car that goes there, right?
Well, no, the Senate bill reads this, Commissioner, you have to supply, if you supply them, you can reduce your parking requirement by 10%, so they could reduce 5 or 6 spaces. Now, if all your tenants don't have an electronic car, they can use the space that is designated for electronic car, as long as there is none needed in the building. So in other words, he has 30 units and no one has an electronic car, then they can use that, those spaces, for themselves. Those electronic spaces are really not to be used for visitors and such, and so forth. They're supposed to be used for the tenants. So, if the tenants don't have them, then as the building owner, I would say, okay, this is an electronic space, but we do not have anyone with an electronic vehicle, so your space would be, number 2 or 3 or whatever. They could use them like that. It's just a way for the state to encourage electronic cars, but the building doesn't have any. They just get the benefit of reducing their parking requirement by 10%.
Got it. Thank you so much, Gary.
Okay, Mr. LaRocca and Mr. Maraconda and Chairman, are we good on that?
Yeah, we're comfortable with all the points that you've addressed, we'll be able to address them as well.
Need to figure out when it would come back, how it would come back.
Maggie?
Mr. Mr. LaRocca, will you please address the 6 objectors that are listening?
I will in a moment, but let's discuss, Mr. Akonda, would you be looking for a special meeting, a regular meeting?
Well, Marco, I would suggest, let's try to get a regular meeting on, the date, and then if they go to a special, because I don't know if the commissioners, you, and Melinda and myself, will have that in front of us, so why don't we give them a regular date, and then if he wishes to go to a special, make sure everybody's available, because we don't know how long it's gonna take for Matt, for the survey to come in, and if we give a special, let's say in 2 weeks, and the survey's not done, we're gonna be back in square one.
I don't think you're getting a date in 2 weeks, whether it's regular or special, but I understand what you mean.
So,
We would definitely, we would look for a special for sure, Marco, but whatever way the board wants to proceed in that regard.
Well, the problem is if we do it, or we give you a regular, you're gonna have to go back and get the regular to get the new date, or you're gonna have to renotice.
Right.
You already know you're gonna get a special, and I don't think you're getting a date anytime soon regardless. What the case are we talking about, if it's a special, man?
To be honest with you, I don't schedule anymore, so I don't have an answer for anyone right now. I can put them on a regular, but I cannot do any specials, I'm
So,
sorry.
Mr. Markello, we just have to schedule for a regular.
Okay.
If you get a special date, you'll have to renotice, or just come on that date and get the new date, but
So we'll shoot for the regular meeting that's available, and if we are ready sooner and we want the special, we'll address that with new notice, yes. So for now, we'll accept whatever regular meeting is available as soon as.
March 10th, 2022 at 7:30 PM.
Okay, thank you very much.
alright, so hold on, before we, move on. The members of the public, it's my understanding that there are some objectors watching the meeting that may have concerns. This application is going to be adjourned. Right now, the matter is tentatively going to be carried until March 10, 2022 at 7:30 PM. This would be the notice. Like I said, that if any member of the public would like to be heard with regard to this, again, not with regard to the application, because it's going to come back and be revised, but any concerns or any questions as to it being carried and the carried date, please call 973-321-1579 and enter meeting ID number 711-680-001. Again, now is not the time. The application is going to be carried to give comments, statements, or objections to the application itself. If you have any questions or concerns with regard to it being carried to March 10th, or any questions at all in that regard, call 973-321-1579, enter meeting ID 711-680-001. Madam Secretary, I understand that there's a few objectors on the line. You want to check with them to see if they have any concerns, we'll give it a minute and see if anybody else calls.
Well, I'm gonna have to talk to them on the line, so I will put on, the first is Gloria Cruz. Are you there, ma'am? Unmute yourself. *6 on your phone. Gloria Cruz.
Yes, Cruzado.
Excuse me, Cruz.
Gloria Cruzado.
Okay, you speak English, ma'am?
Yes, okay. Hello, everybody. I am the owner of 380 Dakota Street. Everything that I heard is...
Yeah, ma'am, the matter is being carried to March 10th, 2022, you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, on March 10th, you'll have an opportunity to be heard, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Next is Albert Morillo. Are you there, sir?
Wait, Meg, how many people are online?
There are 6.
I mean, 'cause we don't really need to hear from all 6, just if anybody had any issues about the date. I don't know
Well,
that
the only way to ask them is this way, because they're on. So I have to address them each one.
Alright, good.
Albert Morillos, are you there, sir? Mr. Morillo, are you there? Okay, I'll move on to the next one. Fatima Ahmad. Excuse me. Excuse me? Mr. Morillo, is that you, sir?
Move on to the next one.
Fatima Ahmad? Okay, I see her there. Fatima Ahmad, are you there? Star 6, your phone. Unmute yourself, please. Okay, the next one, Sajida Ahmad as well. Are you there, ma'am? Okay. Leon Mondelli, are you there, sir? Please unmute yourself. Star 6. Vincent Zito, are you there, sir?
Hello?
How are you?
Hello?
Mr. Zito?
This is Albert. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Sir, this matter is being carried to March 10th, 2022 at 7:30. Any issues or concerns?
Okay.
All right, thank
No,
you.
okay.
Thank you.
Please mute yourself or just.
Alright, so just mute everybody. So,
Vincent Zito, are you there? Sir? Okay, that's it. They're not answering me.
alright, to the members of the public, everybody watching, the new date for this matter is March 10th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. There'll be no more notice with regard to that date. This is your notice. However, if in fact the applicant changes the date, they'll give you new notice, but as it is now, it's March 10th. Thank you.
If for the record, as soon as the plans are done, I need an electronic copy, and hopefully not the day of the meeting, and I also need an electronic copy of the survey. So please, Mr. Mariconda, your professionals, make sure that they get that to me. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This application has been carried. Mr.
Can we close this one?
Excuse me?
Are we gonna close this one and then open the other one?
Yeah, let her finish saying it's been carried. I'll let her close it out.
Okay, so this matter has been carried. Would you like to close this meeting, Chairman Thaxton? Okay. Chairman Thaxton, can you unmute yourself, sir?
Maggie, if you muted them, then you have to unmute Chairman Thaxton, if you muted everyone.
Fortunately, I cannot do that. He has to do it on his cell phone, okay? So he has to hit star 6. One moment.
Oh, Maggie?
Yes, Chairman, can you close the meeting, sir?
Yes, the meeting's adjourned.
Give me 2 seconds, please.
Hey.
I'm ready.
Chairman, can I proceed now, sir?
Go ahead, Ned.
Okay, the next application is Riverview Property Management and Realty LLC, rescheduled from January 6, 2022 meeting. Address is 577-579, 580-583, 585-587, 591-593 River Street, Lot 2004, lots 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And 155-179 6th Avenue, Lot 2001, Lot 1. Application to construct a new 4-story mixed-use building. The lower level will consist of 63 parking spaces, and the first floor will consist of 32 parking spaces and 9,000 square feet of commercial space. The building will contain 18 one-bedroom apartments, 12 two-bedroom apartments, and 3 three-bedroom apartments, for a total of 39 apartments. There will be 1,250 square feet of amenity space on the second through fourth floors, for the second through, and 3,000 square feet of common area space over the parking garage. The applicant is proposing 6,752 square feet of amenity space on site. The applicant also provides parking spaces off-site at 155-179 6th Avenue. This is for use both site and in a B1 zone, which is considered the neighborhood business district. Is the applicant present?
Applicant is President Ready, Al Americano on behalf of the applicant.
You may proceed, Chairman Jackson.
Gary?
Yes, Chairman.
Gary,
Yes, Chairman.
do you have the, updated plans for this project?
Well, the last revision I have is 1/13/2022. There's some revisions still need to be made, but that's the last revision I have. And I have some questions about the lease area, and some other things have changed. So there's some concerns. I don't know if you want to go through them first or not.
Okay, let's start off with your concerns, Gary.
Okay. All right.
And Mr. Maricombi, you can address this, but, I need to hear his concerns
Okay.
Okay.
before we go any further.
Yes. Okay. Well, first, Mr. Nakanda, I believe we are now talking about 2 commercial units with let me get your number correct, because it's different on several pages. We have 6,585 square feet of commercial space. Is that correct?
Evans, would that be correct?
Yes, so we submitted the plan, as you mentioned, the January 13th revision.
Okay.
We show the first floor, we have 2 commercial tenants, one is 4,316, and the other one's 2,269.
Okay, now, Mr. Evans, that comes out to 6,585.
6585?
Yeah, you can add your numbers up. I just added them up, it's 6,585. On your plan S1, you say commercial tenant space, 9,056 square feet.
Did you want me to swear him in if he's gonna be testifying right now? This is a new application.
That's up to Mr. LaRocca or the chairman.
Do you swear from testimony you're going to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
That your full name for the record?
Matthew Evans, architect, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
Okay, Mr. Evans, you can address that question.
Yes, so I believe we revised the plan, we revised the commercial area, the table might not reflect the reduction that we're proposing to 6585, but that was what
It's not only the table, Mr. Evans, but look at your sheet S1, top right, you call it commercial tenant space, 9,056 square feet. On sheet S2, you call it 9,056 square feet. So on two sheets, you call it 9,000 square feet, and on another sheet, you call it 6,000 square feet. So there's a difference on those plans. Number two, a concern of mine, Mr. Maricon, if you're writing it down.
Yes.
You're implementing now electronic spaces, and again, like the last application, I need to see them on the plan because of code enforcement on the city. I need to protect the board if there is an issue with parking. And there still may be an issue with parking, but that needs to get done. Number three, we can go, you don't have a front setback on your zoning chart for East 12th Street. You don't have a front setback for East 6th Street. You have 39 units proposed, and it's actually 41 units proposed. Because you have two commercial spaces. The floor area ratio you say is 3.8, it's actually 4.5. The lot coverage is 95% as opposed to 90. And your open space, you have open space on the roof. 4,801, and then you have, total open space on the roof is 6,258. If you go to your sheet A3, A4, no? A3, it has the roof terrace plan. You have a covered terrace and an open space, which is 6,258. Then you have amenity space on the floor. Total you say is 1924 on 3 floors. If you do the math, that comes out to 11,000 or 12,000, and on your zoning chart you have 14,000 and change. I don't know where you get the other 2,000 from. So that needs to change. I also, I'm not sure on your elevation sheet if there is any projection, since you have the building over the line on 6th Avenue and River Street, you have, it looks like what is a roof cover, and I'm not sure if it projects into the city right away, and I would need that clarified. Also, now on the 20 spaces that you are leasing down the block, there is an issue with the site, and I guess this would be to your client, not Mr. Evans. The lease sheet that was presented by Callan and Callan, attorneys at law, says the leaser will not make any improvements to the property. So I'm assuming Mr. Amini has to make improvements to the property. I went to the site, and half of the vehicles there on that site are wrecked vehicles. They're not vehicles that can move. While the spaces are striped, the wrecked vehicles are all over the place, and you do not have 24-foot aisles. You do not have the ability for Ingress and Egress to move those 20 cars. So that is a concern of mine, because unless the owner is going to provide moving all those cars, and again, I think I would want something in writing because of, and again, it's not with this application, but it seems like applicants are just telling the board what they want to hear, and that is not the case on like I said, 90% of the applications that are mixed use, commercial, or bigger applications. So the leasing is not going to take care of any of that. I don't know where any of those cars are going to go. And when you come out of the gate on 6th Street, 6th Avenue, Mr. Maricon, you have to make a left to come up 6th Avenue to River Street to get into the building. Right there, where the fence is, they store tow trucks. so the people would have to walk in the street. So there's a lot going on with that leased area, which I'm concerned about as well. So, so the issues here now are, there are several mistakes on the zoning chart. Again, in my report has been revised 5 times. So there are a lot of issues with the zoning chart. On 2 different pages, Mr. Evans calls for 9,000 and change square feet of retail, and I think you want to reduce it to 6,000 and change. The electronic cars have to be shown, and now I have one more issue with the garbage. On your page A2, Mr. Evans has the garbage will be stored, and then cans are going to be put out. Now, I know it's going through a compactor, but you got 41 units. Even with a compactor, you're going to have 20 garbage cans or close to it, because you're going to have, not like Maggie said, 3 bedrooms. You're going to have 9 3 bedrooms, 12 2 bedrooms. So you're going to have 20 garbage fields out of 41 units. So I don't know if this commission wants 20 garbage fields along River Street or East 12th Street. Now, on some of the applications that we heard prior, you had a private hauler with a dumpster. But now where he put it, I guess the dumpster you can't get to. So Mr. Evans now has said that it's going to be garbage pails and put out onto the street. But yet he doesn't show the garbage pails, and he shows 5 containers. I'm not sure that's going to be enough for recycling and 41 units, compressed or not. So I have a concern with that, because you're going to have maybe 20 garbage pails lining East 12th Street or River Street, and I'm not sure the residents in the 200-foot radius know that. That's not fair to them, and it's not fair to the city. So
Can I stop you for 1 second? I don't want to stop you because you're on a pretty good roll there. So I didn't want to jump in. But we actually didn't do the roll.
I was waiting for him to finish.
No, I know that. So was I. I don't know if he was going to or not. So let's do the roll, and then we'll come back.
All right, that's what I was going to do. I was waiting for him to finish. Hold on one moment. Commissioners, Commissioner Barat,
Here.
Commissioner White,
Present.
Commissioner Furman,
Present.
thank you, Commissioner Minato,
I'm here, Maggie.
thank you, Commissioner Watkins,
Present.
Commissioner Arenas,
Present.
Commissioner Vega, absent, Commissioner Vice Chairman Rogi,
Present.
and Chairman Thaxton.
Present.
Thank you. We have 8 commissioners in attendance this evening.
now, Mr. Marcanda, like I was saying, this was just revised only last week. There are, and again, your applicant has addressed one of the biggest issues, which was parking, but that leased area has some issues that I think you need to clear, and I think you need something else besides him saying he's going to clear it. Also, you changed the garbage from a private hauler now to putting out cans, because you don't have access to a private hauler getting to it. So I'm not sure, and while it is allowed, the city, the commissioners heard this case a few times, and it was always a private hauler. Now, I don't know if they want to see 20 peels lining the street, especially because you didn't provide any parking for the unloading and loading area, like when people are going to the medical center and to the pharmacy to drop off, there is no parking. There hasn't even been parking made available on the first floor, which you should have done now that you have parking. You also have to show, like I just said on the last application, you want to use the reduction for electronic spaces you know what, I need to protect this board and the city, and they have to be on the plan. But, I didn't have a problem with the concept, you know, there are a lot of things here, including inconsistencies on Mr. Evans' plan that I need to be addressed. And if the city, and if the commissioners don't mind, possibly 20 garbage pails along, River Street, you know, I thought it should be a private hauler, since this is a use application, and, that would be my suggestion, so that doesn't go on the city time, especially because of, your flood area ratio is almost 4 times more than which is permitted, and your density is as well. So, my suggestion would be a private hauler, like it was proposed in the applications prior. And then Mr. Evans would have to move that area, or move the parking so that they can get to it. But there are a lot of issues, Mr. Chairman. So,
Mr. Paparazzi, just if I could, just 1 or 2 items, I have taken note of what you've addressed. Mr. Evans believes the electronic spaces are shown on the plan, is that correct?
Yes,
Can you tell us, you wanna show us where that is?
I can post it on the,
yes, you're right, I'm sorry, I apologize.
yeah,
You're showing, six phases?
6 on the upper level and then a couple, on the lower level.
Okay.
And Gary, also with respect to the off-site parking, I know the lease talks about no improvements to be made by the landlord, but the removal of, prior tenants' vehicles is not, doesn't fall under the category of improvements. The landlord, as the party renting the space, will have the obligation to make the spaces free and clear before the lease kicks in reality for occupancy by this tenant. That doesn't fall under improvements, in my opinion.
Well, you know, then, of course, Mr. Maricondo, what you have proposed doesn't work then. Because those cars are all over there, and I went in there to try to get around them, and I had an issue. And then he parks he must have a towing business, because there's a lot of jumps in there. He parks his tow trucks from the fence to the curb, so now the people who park there have to walk in the street. So there are issues there that if the landlord has to address them, then it should be in their, that letter from Cullen and Cullen, is saying that those spaces will be made available, accessible, the tow trucks would be moved, and if the junk cars are gonna remain, they're not even in spaces. He has some of the lot stripes, they're just where he parked them. And I was there yesterday. So it's not like, you know, this was one of the prior application reviews or inspections. So,
Okay.
a bigger concern about Mr. Maricondo though is that garbage. You know, you might want to call the commissioners, but I don't think the city should be paying for it, especially because this is a use application, and your floor area ratio and density are increased so much that the city should not be paying for garbage pickup, and it should be a private hauler. And the fact that you're gonna need, I don't know, even at best guess, 15 garbage pails. You know what that means during the winter or a windstorm, or, you know, it's just a mess. And what you're gonna do is probably make a good application look terrible. So, those are the concerns, Mr. Chairman, and, you know, while he did show the electronic spaces, there's still other issues that that I alluded to earlier.
Mr. Maricondo.
Obviously, the board has to make a determination whether, based on the planner's recommendation, if you're ready to proceed tonight and have us address these points that have been raised as we proceed with testimony and possibly modify plans, or that's a call for the board. If you wish, I can go off the record again with my client to talk what's been just discussed and come back on while maybe the board can discuss off the record its position about going forward.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Mr. LaRocca, did Mr. Maricondo just give us permission to discuss this?
Yes.
I mean, he did give it to us,
Yes, go ahead, Gary.
okay, commissioners,
I think we should still wait though.
okay,
Let's just wait.
okay.
Okay.
And I think we're pretty, clear on what your position is, so let's just wait.
Okay, okay.
Okay, we're back on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Chairman and council. We're amenable to carrying this matter, obviously, to the next available regular meeting date.
I can't hear you, Mr. Maracanda.
Somebody, okay,
Are we okay?
yes.
Okay, so, Gary and Marco, we're ready to carry the matter to continue the dialogue on the points that Gary raised. Ask for the next earliest possible regular meeting.
Mr. Maracanda, I think, I'm gonna suggest this to the board, that you still have a private hauler. And where it's shaped now, you can't get to the garbage, so, I want that for two reasons. One, because, it has been proposed several times before, and now you went to garbage pails on the street. I think aesthetically, it doesn't look good to have that many pails along the street. Second of all, because of the use, I would suggest that to the board, so that there is no, additional cost to the city. And, I would like Mr. LaRocca to review that lease, because that lease that came from the attorneys, they made it sound like, they're not doing anything. And I don't know if we just have the applicant say he's gonna do it, because right now, you know what, if it can't get done, and again, and I'm not saying it to this applicant, because, I'm saying it always generally, the applicants come in and say, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, and it just doesn't get done. And I have said almost for the 7 years that I'm with the city, that they should have enforcement, because they would be collecting fines, and eliminating COs on issues that, are created by, applicants who are not conforming to the, zoning board resolution. So,
We're going to address them, yes.
yeah, I would like that lease to be, tightened up only to the point where if those cars are gonna be moved, the tow trucks are gonna be moved. And again, Mr. Maracanda, I like the application, especially now that he has the parking, but, there are a lot of issues with Mr. Evans' plan. On two different pages, we have 9,000 square feet of commercial, and you're applying for 6,000 square feet. The garbage, some of the other issues that, which I said on the elevation, if, your building is online, and it looks like you have 3 awnings, on your elevation. If there are not awnings, Mr. Evans, I want a note to that effect that there's not gonna be anything that encroaches past the building line because then it would be on city property, which is not allowed, and this board can't even approve. But the application I thought was a good application, but, there's just too many issues. You know what? We can't keep going on the fly like that, you know? I already made five.
We're ready to carry and address these issues.
Okay, thank you.
May,
I'm working on it, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. This is Commissioner Furman.
good evening, sir.
Can I please make a comment?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the applicant, I'm very concerned about the garbage issue. I would like to see a private dumpster instead. Thank you.
We agree.
Thank you. This matter will be carried to March 24th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m.
Members of the public, the only notice you will receive is right now that the matter will be carried to March 24, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. And council, you waive statutory time requirements through the 24th of March.
We do, yeah.
And Mr. Maricondo, for the record, please make sure that those plans and that whatever you're gonna do with that lease gets emailed to me, because if it goes to Maggie and it doesn't come to me, we're gonna have another problem the night of the meeting. So please make sure, I'm saying it for the record, I don't have to follow up, they get sent to me as well.
Thank you for consideration.
Thank you very much.
Before we close, Melinda, we have minutes?
I don't know if you wanna wait for next week, cause I just sent it today.
Yes,
Or
I would.
read them.
I don't have anything with me, so I can't.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned?
Chairman Jackson, meeting adjourned, sir?
May, would you want to address the board?
Well, I can, I guess. I just needed everyone to know that I have been, removed from the boards during the day. I still work at night. I'll still be your secretary. I just, am minimized to the meetings in the evening. They have hired a new secretary, and, she will take over. When she starts working, I don't know, I have not been notified. I did apply for the position, but was turned down. So I am now working, still in planning and zoning, but under a different title. I mean, a different, job title, description, okay? But I'm still involved very heavily with the board, and just wanted to make everyone aware. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Does anyone have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, just so that you know, you know, unless it's very simple, you know, changes on the fly like that, when I go to sign off on the plans, they're never done. You know, those things they do on the fly. When I go back and forth to City Hall, and Maggie will attest to the fact, you know what, she was there anyway, that, you know, I went there and I said, Maggie, I can't sign off on this. So in the future, you know, I give them my report and I send it to the applicant directly, his attorney. If they're gonna do, again, unless it's simple, you know, they have to adjourn and carry it. You know, it's not our fault that they come in and ask for the world, and then they see the way the commissions are going, and then they wanna change. You know, they have a dozen changes, and it's just not fair to the board, it's not fair to me, it's not fair to the city. So, going forward, if that's the case, unless it's minimal, I'm gonna ask for, you know, tonight, like I did with the applications tonight. I don't wanna keep postponing and carrying them, but I also don't wanna, leave the city or the zoning board, at risk, so I'm just gonna address it. And they have my report, I don't know why there's so many issues, but.
Chairman Paxton, this is Commissioner Corrals. May I speak? I have a comment.
Go ahead.
Well, I do feel that the developers, the engineers, the architects, they're all abusing, because tonight we saw like 4 times this thing has been in front of the board and revisions are being requested. And yet they don't change anything. They come back with the same things. And I think, I don't know who has to get tough, but I think we have to, because we all have families, we all have kids, we all have jobs. And for us to come over here and look and listen to something that was revised, asked for a revision 4 times already, and we still have to hear it, that it wasn't done. I don't think it's fair to any of us. This is my comments, and I don't know who has to address it and how we can change it to
Well,
make
you
it
know what, Commissioner,
more efficient.
if I keep doing what I'm doing, I think the applicants will get the trend and start saying, you know what? Let's make sure that Mr. Evans' plan doesn't, conflict with itself, that it doesn't conflict with an engineer's plan or survey. Let's make sure we dot our i's and cross our t's.
Because the irony of it is that they all know what needs to be done, and just they choose not to do it.
Well, the first one was bad, because there were so many. The second one, which I really didn't like, where they went from a private hauler and put out 20 garbage cans, maybe more, which, you know, now they put that expense on the city. And the 3 or 4 times that we've heard that one, it was not like that.
We really shouldn't be commenting on the actual applications.
Okay.
Applicant is gone, council's gone, and we are on the record with, and I still think
Okay.
live streaming, so I don't think we should be
Okay.
discussing that. If we wanna just talk in generality or
Yes.
particularly, I don't even know if this shouldn't really be done in an open public meeting anyway.
Okay. So in general, that's what's gonna happen though from now on, commissioners. If there's issues, I'm gonna suggest that to the commissioners. And then if you need to vote on it, you vote on it. If you wanna go ahead with it, then I'll do whatever you ask, but.
That sounds like a plan.
Can we stay on until after we come off the air for a few minutes?
Can I stay on? Sure.
Or I just want us to get off live?
We can't. We're virtual, so once I shut down, we shut down. You'll have to
Okay,
plan on
then it's for another time.
Okay, if you wanna call myself.
Yeah, or you gotta do a different Zoom, you gotta actually do a different Zoom.
Yeah.
I'm not.
We actually had this meeting for about 4 to 5 months ago. Whereas if the applicants weren't prepared with their paperwork, and we were not gonna allow them to go forward. So what we witnessed tonight, we did just what we said we wasn't gonna do, but like you did, you stopped it, you shut it down.
Well,
We had that meeting and we said we wasn't gonna listen to it. It was not.
But Commissioner, just so that you know, Maggie, who was scheduling the applications, she scheduled it, you know, a month ago. His revision was only last week. So.
And then the fact that you sent out an email saying that they wasn't even ready to mistakes. And
I know, but Maggie had it on the schedule because she scheduled it 4 weeks ago, you know, to be tonight. And the last revision was the 13th.
Can I interject here a moment? Let's just close this meeting out. IT is going to, we'll still be on, but you still won't be on the air, okay? Chairman Daxton, close this meeting, sir. Thank you.
Let us know, Maggie, when IT.
Okay.